Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball. Big weekend around the league. The Twins are back from the dead, and the jerseys are dead. Let's talk ball.
Framber Valdez.
Jung-Hoo Lee.
You missed.
Pitching at altitude. Mexico series full recap right now. Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball, presented to you by SeatGeek. Code Talkin10. I think it's up at the end of April, so make sure you go use that. I am Jake Storielli, coming live from New York City, the city of winners, people are calling it. Me and BBD, okay. Rangers, Knicks, Yankees, Mets walk off. Trevor Plouffe coming live from Chicago, where the hot Minnesota Twins will face the hot Chicago White Sox. Everyone's watching. Trevor Plouffe on the call and doing breakdowns before the game, talking about cutting down runners.
I'm working too much right now. What am I doing?
Yeah.
But I am in Chicago. People say Chicago is all the great parts of New York and then a lake right here. I don't know if that's true. I still am a big fan of New York City. Jakey boy, I'm excited to talk some ball with you. Beavers, you as well. Yes, I was following the Twins closely. Hottest team in baseball, 7 wins in a row. Albeit against the White Sox and the Angels, who, my goodness, I guess we'll get into that a little later, but that was kind of a rough watch for them. What is it, Monday? So we start with the American League, obviously. Jake. How was your weekend?
I'm good. I've got a good story that the Talkin' Baseball people like, and then we'll get into it.
Are we going to share, like, the photos? Like, we put those on the app?
Yeah, there's a social clip coming too. A friend of a friend was having an Angels and Demons themed birthday party, and my Jessica was hell-bent on going, if you will. So, it was going to be an eclectic crew there. I wasn't going to stand out at this party. The birthday boy showed up with, like, massive angel wings. Okay. I'm at a Skinner concert. There's this angel band playing. No. So, whatever. So, I go to Amazon. I purchase, like, the, basic devil attire, ears, tail, pitchfork. I also got some sick red glasses to go with it. That kind of put the fit over the top. So as we're leaving my apartment building, I'm kind of doing one of those sad walks where I'm like, okay, the door guys are going to bust me for this one later or whatever. You're in the streets wearing a devil costume. It's New York City. Anything goes. We join up with this other couple before we head over to the party, and now we've got a squad, so I'm feeling kind of confident in my devil fit, feeling good. And the party was at they rented out a basement of a bar in New York City. So we walk in, I'm in my devil fit, feeling good, a couple beer Sammies in at this point. And I hear, right as we walk in, someone goes, "Jake?" And normally if it's someone who's like consumes our content, it's a little more like either excited or scared. This was very inquisitive. And it was the beautifully inquisitive Jerry Blevins, my Gandalf, who was, a man of the city. He loves New York City. He loves getting good food. So I think we're in Little Italy somewhere. And Jerry was just kind of at a table, eating some grub, watching some baseball. And he sees me in my devil outfit. And we shared a good laugh over that.
So he wasn't at the party. He just randomly saw you in a devil costume.
Just in the streets. The last thing he expected was me to walk in a devil costume. So it was good to catch up with Jer. His Mets get a nice walk-off the next night. Some people are saying that's correlated. But yeah, we got to catch up for a minute. And
goodness.
Then and it's also just tough because Jerry Blevins, I think, is a 6'7"er. And I grew up with a bunch of tall boys, and I know I'm short, but man, being next to Jerry, that when that pick came out, I was happy for it, but also a little sad.
You guys look great together. I was gonna ask, like, what was Jerry, an angel or a demon? And clearly he would have been an angel because that's what he is. Him and his Roman nose, me and him share that feature together.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a pretty good kickoff to the Angels and Demons party. ended with a slice of pie, and then it ended with a lot of ball this weekend, you know?
I do know.
God. Let's
Look at you, Pop.
let's do some American League Baseball. It's presented to you by Pesty. That's right, people. Bugs. We're killing them. Not our bug dude. But I think everyone knows that feeling if you've been in an apartment or you've been in a house. When you see that big bug and you're like, oh, don't like that. Do not like that. Get in touch with Pesty. It's a do-it-yourself pest control company that provides pro-grade pest control products at an affordable price so you can say bye to bugs at a fraction of the cost. Knowing we needed this in our Bronx office.
This would have been perfect.
Yeah, especially during the summertime. All those bugs are looking for water in the summertime.
I did get to revisit the Bronx office a couple of times since we left, and the bugs took over.
It got scary. There was a while when you'd go into our kitchen, and it was like you'd enter slowly because you just want to make sure you weren't outnumbered in there. Pesty, it's a one-size-fits-all plant. Excuse me. It's not a one-size-fits-all plan. It's customized treatment plan for you based on the location of your bugs and climate. Trev was on the climate, son of a pool man. Pesty is super easy, takes 10 minutes to apply, and comes with everything you need. Now is the time to protect your home from bugs for less with Pesty. Head to pesty.com/talkin. Code TALKIN, an extra 10% off your order. pestie.com/talkin, 10% off. Click the link in the description. Get rid of the bugs, man.
Bugs are kind of the worst. I mean, I know you're not supposed to say that about any animals anymore, but they are.
Oh, the worst. I got that sweet blood too. That bugs love me, bro.
You know what?
Oh,
people love to talk about their
brother's got
sweet
that.
blood and how bugs love them. It's kind of gross.
Dude. Oh, it's super. I hate it.
No, I think you love it. That's why it's gross.
But dude, it's
My
a real
sweet
thing.
blood.
Some people the buggies love, and I'm like number one.
Let me
on
taste
their hit
that blood.
list. Let's talk some ball. And of course, we start out with the powerful American League Central in the Detroit Tigers. They bring it to the Royals after losing the first game because Seth Lugo dropped it on him. Bobby Witt, 3 RBI game. The Tigers come big with Tarek, like Derek Skubal. 7 innings, 1 earned run. Your boy Wenceel Perez hits his first yacker. And Matt Vierling was all over this series.
Obviously.
Your favorite. I was laughing thinking about how much you love Matt Vierling. Tough outing for Chris Stratton as he gave up 5 runs in the 7th. Jason Foley's 9th save of the year. Hey, both those teams getting off to a nice start in the Centrale. Let's go back to the East Coast for a little bit because the Baltimore Orioles got that work from the A's. Mason Miller, the babyface killer, he showed up. These A's just never died, and they've been relentless. Kyle McCann with the 2-run homer off of Kimbrel to get that last game. Mitch Spence kept them in that first game with 3 clean innings out of the bullpen. How about these A's? Playing with a little bit of vim and vigor, Albert Suarez finally gets knocked around in that middle game. Gunnar, Mountcastle, Swerve, and Irvin. These aren't your father's A's, or maybe they are. I don't know. They just need a city. Speaking of putting on for our city, the Minnesota Twins, feeling hot. They sweep the Halos. They put up double-digit runs in those final 2 games. Carlos Santana is homering. He heard us talking on the podcast. Bailey Ober, the Nightmare. Eddie Julien is hitting again. The whole offense, Trev. They finally found it. They turned it on. Halo season now kind of heading to the bad place. And the Twins are back, baby. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about that summer sausage. Speaking of summer sausage, The Chicago White Sox, they bust out the broomsticks against the Tampa Bay Rays. 9-4, extra innings in that middle game. Benintendi walk-off, baby. The boys are bopping on the south side. Baby, won't you come my way? Fetty Wap. Eric Fetty has been dropping it this season. Eloy is back. Rays, they've got a bad case of the not hitting right now. Check in on them in a minute. Good for the White Sox. Dodgers, they take 2 out of 3 from the Blue Jays. They win the first 2 games. Our guy Gavin Stone, warehouse adjacent. He goes 7 innings, 1 earned run. Will Smith, underrated. 4-hit day. Glass now drops it on him. Jays, Kevin Gossman, looking like he's back. Love that for them. Alejandro Kirky goes yard. And how about that George Springer catch? That made it move for me. Cincinnati Reds and the Texas Rangers, they played 3. The Rangers won the bread games. Evan Carter and Marcus Semien go yard in the first one. Hunter Green on the national stage. Okay, I'm going to put that in my mental, I was going to say, prank bank. That guy. Didn't think I was going to end there. Wyatt Langford gets his first homer, Trev, inside the park. How about that? It's a weird sport sometimes. Rangers end up handling their business. The Seattle Mariners. Seattle, we see you. We recognize what's going on with the pitching. And that's the tough part for my Snakes. They've been pitching great as well, but they get out-dueled in these ones. They only get 1 run across in the first 2 games. Mitch Haniger, 4 RBI day. George Kirby, 12 punches. Snakes, Christian Walker and Brandon Pfaadt fight back. And then how about these Boston Red Sox? They win it on Sunday Night Baseball. Tyler O'Neill walk-off. Tanner Houck is hawking the pill. They put up a 17-burger on that Saturday game. And you know, Shota Imanaga dropped it again in that first game. That's the game the Cubbies won. Bush, Morrell, and our guy PCA doing it. That is what happened in the American League. Trev, you've got the standings, right? You know.
Not a boy, Poppy. I do have the standings. They're right here. In the AL East, the New York Yankees, and BBDs and everybody else in the office's Yankees are 19-10. Baltimore right behind them at 17-10. Boston Red Sox still doing it. 16-13. Only 3 games back. Toronto 14-15. And Tampa Bay, as you mentioned, struggling. Swept by the White Sox. They are at 13-16. In the Central, Cleveland just keeps winning games. You know, I know they had a series against the Braves here. We'll talk about in a little bit. They're 19-9. Kansas City Royals at 17-12. Detroit Tigers at 16-12. The Minnesota Twins, 7-game win streak, 14-13. Then those White Sox, winners of 3 in a row, all the way up to 6-22. And in the West, the Mariners maintain their lead in first place. They're 15-13. Texas right behind them at 15-14. The Oakland A's surprising a lot of people lately. A lot of it has to do with that bullpen, 12-17. Los Angeles Angels, 10-18. And the Houston Astros, winners of 2 straight, 9-19 at the bottom of the AOS. And that's the standings.
It's got to start sometime. And that's what I said about a week ago about your Minnesota Twins.
About a week ago.
And they went out and they won every game, Trev. How about them, baby? I know you've been bopping with the boys. What's the word?
I've been bopping the boys. Vibes are high, okay? I mean, I came into a 4-game win streak. They handled business against the White Sox at home, went into Anaheim, and they've been hitting. I mean, that's basically what's going on. You know, still without Correa, still without Royce Lewis, although I believe Correa will be back in the lineup tonight. And even with Byron Buxton struggling a little bit. So, I mean, the guys at the top of the lineup right now, Ryan Jeffers got going. Eddie Julian has been hitting. I mean, everyone. Carlos Santana had a homer in 3 straight games. It was a great series for the Twins. And saying that, the Angels are playing absolutely just poor all-around baseball. It's actually really hard to watch. Joe Adele out there in right field, he's been hitting the ball. Like he's looking good at the plate. But on the bases, and especially in right field, holy shnikes. I watched the whole series. Obviously, called the whole series. Pop-up priorities need to be worked on. I'm guaranteeing, knowing that coaching staff, Ron Washington and Ryan Goins and Johnny Washington and Bo Porter out there, they're going to be on the field a lot in the coming week before the game, working on pop-up priorities. Corner infielders were like not being aggressive on these, like letting catchers try to catch, pop-ups down the line. It was just a very, very sloppy series for the Angels. So as much as I want to give my Twins credit, and they're doing well, they're hitting. I mean, I think they had back-to-back games of over 17 hits. Aaron Hicks came in to pitch. It was a very sloppy series from the Angels.
Hey, starts with credit to your Twins. Again, I was crunching the numbers in jakey fashion, and again, like a lot of teams don't get themselves out of a hole if they dig a deep one. Analytics. And the Twins were getting close. And they reeled off 7 straight, and that's kind of what I was trying to say. Like, and that's always really hard to do on the baseball field. So the fact that they're doing that, and now they go to face the White Sox, who, hey, maybe they're facing a different White Sox team. But the offense is going nuts. Nut job. I always I reference it a lot. The Fangraphs roster resource page. In the last 7 days, it has 6 Twins hitters as top 30 hitters in baseball. Julian Jeffers, Larnack, Kepler, Willie Castro, and Santana. That doesn't count Jose Miranda, who's been playing good. So, like, I asked for their sticks to go. The sticks have gone. A lot of their offensive numbers look a lot better, and you can do that in the last week of April with a good week, so good on them. Angels, yeah, dude, I'm glad you mentioned Joe Adell. Like, hey, I hope the light bulb's gone off at the plate. There's been a lot of quadruple A jokes about Joe Adell. He is hitting a ton right now, 327, 382, 974. Go, Joe Adell, go. Dude, the defensive lowlights are entering a bizarre area. He got hit by the ball the other day that he thought Trout was going to catch, which I don't know if I've ever seen that. And then he had that ball drop in front of him that it wasn't an easy play, but it was kind of like, it looked like there was a glitch. Like if you were playing a video game, you'd be like, oh, what is this?
It was a lack of aggressiveness on defense for this entire team. I'll say, except for Zach Neto, that guy is a wizard at shortstop. He keeps getting better defensively. He actually had a couple decent at-bats as well. But other than him, it was just a complete lack of aggression. People letting the ball play them or, not wanting to call somebody off on these pop-ups. It was a sight to see. I guess can I break some news right now?
Yeah, need it.
There's going to be a massive roster shakeup in Los Angeles. They needed one, and one guy in particular that we love is going back to the show.
Kotuck time?
Got word last night from the man himself. He's been crushing it. And Triple A hit a homer off Max Scherzer. Like, I don't know if I should have said that on the air, but you know what? I'm happy for him.
He might be the only person that could save that damn franchise.
They need vibes, coach.
He's got that in droves.
You know what? Logan O'Hoppe, love that kid, plays aggressively. He zooed some balls behind the plate, but I did get to meet him. Nicky Cass always talks about him, so we had a laugh about Nicky Cass being short. So, I'm a big fan of his now.
Yeah, I mean, hey, where I started with the Jerry Blevins pick, I'd rather not discuss that, but happy for Kotuck, happy for your Twins. Happy to see if they keep it rolling, because, Trev, it's always been an AL Central pod, and let's chop the AL East a little bit. The Rays, who we peacocked in their TPP. We're betting real money on Tampa, 84.5.
We did, didn't we?
We're laughing at it. The Rays get the business from the Chicago White Sox, who with the sweep, they're up to 6 wins on the season. And good for them, man. Baseball can be a brutal sport when you're playing bad and the times just feel bad. So I'm glad they get a fun weekend under their belt and feel that, and hopefully it won't be as bad as it's been. I think the story, unfortunately, because I don't think it changes the White Sox outlook too much. We love you, Benny. Fetty, you're going to hear more about later. Eloy's hitting. The Rays, who had the undefeated April last year.
Yes.
They are 13-16 after the sweep. Some guys are struggling. Yandy Diaz, Randy. And these are the guys that they kind of needed to step up with injuries to Lau, Lowe, couple other guys. I don't know, man. I will constantly live in fear of the Rays because they always seem to tap into something. But right now they ain't hitting, and they're not. That bullpen is getting lit up. That, I don't know, in a tough AL East, little worried.
I think that's the story. I mean, you just kind of hit on all the notes there. Like you pair some injuries to your key offensive players, and then the guys that are there struggle while that's happening. You have no one offensively, and then the bullpen struggles. If you have a lead, they're giving it up, or they're increasing the other team's lead late in games. And if you don't have that offensive firepower to back it up, and then you don't get a banger of a start by your starter, that's just how you lose games, man. And the Twins kind of went through something similar. I mean, they had a bunch of guys. I mean, 3 of their top offensive guys out, and the other hitters were struggling. And that was like my call to Twins fans to not give up. It's like, hey, like this is just a rough patch. So I don't want to go too overboard on the Rays because they do have a track record. The guys in that lineup that are struggling, have had great seasons before. They are legitimate offensive threats. Like I believe that they'll get going. They need to get these guys back from injury. But I mean, they're 13-16 right now. This is a great stat. I love this. We talked about their undefeated April last year. They didn't lose their 16th game last year until May 27th. And that put them at 38-16. Right now they're 13-16. Quick math, they'd have to go 25-0 to match that. I don't know if that's on the table here.
Maybe they go undefeated May this year. I don't know.
Maybe undefeated May. But so like if you're a Rays fan, it hasn't been good. But I mean 13-6, not like you're 6-22. And you are going to get these guys back at some point. You're talking about Lowe and Lau, although I believe Lowe just like re-aggravated a hamstring or something. But I think better times are ahead. I don't think this is a team that's going to struggle to, win 70 games this year. I know a lot of people have kind of had that thought preseason, like, hey, maybe this is the year the Rays don't do it. And now this is kind of emphasize those feelings, but I just don't. I can't see it, Pop. I can't see it,
man. You could, I guess, if you wanted, you could spin this in a positive way. I mean, the Rays have kind of built their recent legacy on building bullpens, and their bullpen's been awful. So, yes. Hey, as an organization, maybe that's something we can tap into, or guys are going to turn it around, and we'll find that. If you're the Rays, you can kind of believe in that. The lineup. Again, like Yandy and Randy, those guys should be better, and maybe it's about to come. Like we see that with a lot of ball players. Hey, bad first month, turn it on the second month. Maybe that can happen. I also wonder, Junior Caminero, one of the top prospects in baseball, 11th ranked overall. He got a look last year. Is that a button they press at some point? Because Again, he was a big part of the undefeated April, and I know they played well the rest of the way, but, having Wander Franco be one of the better shortstops in the game, and now that's not on your team. I don't know. If you're the Rays, something's got to... It's not like you're playing a decent brand of ball.
Yeah.
And you're losing games, which, again, you could spin that either way, too. But I don't know, man. That's not very Rays-like.
They got to find something to get the spark. In the second game, Jose Siri gets pulled for not hustling. Like those are buttons that Kevin Cash is pushing. Like, okay, hey, we're not winning, we're not hustling, and we're gonna make some moves here. I mean, that's something that perks everyone up a little bit in the clubhouse. So they have to perform on the field. They got to get guys healthy. The bullpen has to figure things out. If I'm not going to give up on the Astros that were 7-19, I can't give up on the Rays.
Yeah, again, the White Sox just swept them. We could be Friday. We could be talking about how the Rays are back to 500. So you're right. It's a tough AL East. Like some some teams, a chunk of teams are going to be disappointed this season, and we don't know who it is yet, unless Houston doesn't get a win streak going. And good for the
two-game
White
win
Sox.
streak.
Good. Hey, bad baseball can be really tough sometimes.
I think we're mentioning, there's been a couple guys that have performed very well for the White Sox. We did see some homers in that Friday night game on Apple TV. That was nice to see from them. But there's been one pitcher in particular that I believe we'll mention later in the show.
Yes, sir. Let's put a bow tie on the Central. I'm so over it because we're talking about these mid-bottom Central teams, and we should be talking about the Tigers and the Royals battling it out. Hey, we're kind of saying that with smiles on our faces, but man, a lot of ball players on the field that are playing great ball this year. Seth Lugo, Scooble, Bobby Witt Jr. I don't know if you saw the catch he made at shortstop running out to center. That dude is a stud. I forgot how horny you are for Matt Vierling. Adam Frazier's robbing homers and hyping up the fellas.
Where's he at again?
He's on one of these teams. I'm not even sure. Come on. He's a star Royals Tiger player.
That guy's going to have like 15 years in the show. And he's going to like one day come up to me and just smack me in the face.
Yeah.
Like, you were so disrespectful to me. I'm really not, Adam.
No, we love
Adam
you.
You're
Frazier.
part of the show.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't have a ton to add on that series, but I'm proud of both of these teams playing good ball.
Yeah, Lugo with a great start, aided obviously by the Adam Frazier catch in game one, which if you haven't seen it, it is a very spectacular catch. He also added an RBI in that game, so good for him. I think that's kind of the story of the series as the Tigers take 2 out of 3. You had some of these pitchers that have had really great starts to the year show up. I mean, you had Scooble in the last game, go 7 innings, 1 earned run. He's just had an incredible start to the year, really, really backing up a lot of people who used him as their dark horse pick for Cy Young. We talk about him quite often here. He's just a menace, dude. He's a big boy coming at you, kind of limbs all over the place. Definitely, I would consider him a herky-jerky guy, and he just comes at you with the heat and then the changeup off of it. It's a very, very tough at bat, and he looked great, man. So this is these two teams aren't going anywhere. That's the deal. I keep waiting for the Royals not to look like a team that can win series, and I keep waiting for the Tigers to look like a team that can't win series, and they're just not. That's not going to happen. The only thing I'll say is the Royals starting pitching, as good as it has started out, like, is that going to be sustainable throughout the year? I think that's the one question I have about everything here.
Detroit, man, Mark Canha's doing the damn thing day in, day out. Spencer Torkelson doesn't have a homer yet. So I don't know, for a Tigers scope, you can look at their offense and be like, well, it kind of feels like a Tigers offense again. Or you could say there is some room for growth because their pitching on both fronts has been doing really well. And I don't know, we've talked about the Royals a lot. There's a lot of young ball players performing on that field. And
Brady Singer does it again.
Sure. Reese Olson and Brady Singer, they both shoved in this one. I saw there was a sad boy Reese Olson stat, like the first Tigers pitcher, what was it? Third Tiger pitcher to ever lose multiple 6+ innings, 1 earned start this early in the season. First Tiger since 1974. So that's tough. Yeah,
that is tough.
Reese is doing his thing. And the other thing where that series might have got overshadowed a little bit, NFL draft in Detroit this weekend. The draft is becoming too powerful. It's like 700,000 people or something.
I went and watched the draft this year. I didn't even really care about the draft. I sat and watched the first round of the draft.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's fun and I enjoy the draft, but
I like a draft.
700,000 people in attendance. That scares me a little bit. Treviello. Let's see. What else do I have? Oakland and Baltimore is a bit of a story. I mean, again, all of these, the 2 games Baltimore lost were good games, and the A's came back late. And again, it goes to show you the power of having a good bullpen when Oakland flips the script there. Because we were talking about this. The Yankee fans have their eyes on Baltimore as they have a big series this week as they go for top place in the American League. Man, between maybe the juxtaposition here is Felix Bautista, who is such a big part of the Orioles being special, obviously out for most, if not all, this season. Craig Kimbrell, who we've been highlighting in a fantastic way because he is like a historic closer, but he's had his moments, just like every closer. And meanwhile, the rise of Mason Miller in this punchy Athletics team, they just did an East Coast trip, Yankees, Orioles, and they end up winning, 4 out of 7?
They went, yeah. In 4 games.
Not bad.
I mean, yeah, it shows if you have someone that can lock down games when you have the lead or maintain your lead. I mean, it's huge for a team. Mason Miller, I think he's sitting right now 12 and a third innings, 25 punchies, looking like basically unhittable, challenging guys with a fastball. It was, really nice to see that first game. Pretty interesting. You saw the play at the plate there with Rushman and Kimbrell. Kimbrell coming in, blocking the base on Blade, holding that, cutting that run down. And then at the end of the game, Rooker in the 10th hits the double. I thought Colton Cowser kind of took a bad route to that ball, almost like a direct route instead of, kind of an angled back route. But they end up getting the lead there. Then Miller just shuts it down. I mean, simple plays like that turn the series. Cut down at the plate. Great, we hold them. But then a bad route in the outfield. Run. Here comes this guy in who you're not going to score against right now. And that's kind of what the A's have going with them. I think we all took the under on them, Pop, and that's. I don't think that's looking very good. It was
an ugly
low,
one.
50-something, 60.
I think it started with a 5.
Yeah, I think it started with a 5 as well.
A's. One of my favorite parts of the Orioles, who I rave about, is that every inning it feels like they have a potential rally coming. They're first in baseball in home runs, and I don't know if they have a pure home run hitter on their team. The A's bullpen in that final game shut them out for the last 5 innings. Mueller, Adams, McFarland, Urseg. So no, didn't even need the big guy. Pretty impressive stuff.
I'll be talking about a little Baltimore pitcher in a bit.
Okay. Your guy. Your guy. Seattle, some snaps for them, man. They've started reeling off series wins. The starting pitching is going nuts. I'm going to be personally talking about them in a little bit. And I guess with that, maybe there's a little bit of snake concern. Again, it's like we've said with all these teams, it's early, but they dropped to 13 and 16. They're about to play the Dodgers and the Padres. It's a little bit go time in the desert.
Yeah, I mean, you ran up against a pitching staff that's going off right now.
Nuts.
I believe we'll be hearing about them a little bit later. I thought this was a fun series because of some of the trades that happened in the offseason. A couple of guys getting back at their former teams. Rojas, I believe it was like first pitch homer against Gallen. That's got to feel good. Then Eugenio Suarez gets the big knock against his former team. I love that aspect of it. But really the story of the series was Mariners pitching.
It's becoming one of the storylines of the season. I think it's 16 straight starts where their starting pitcher has given up 2 runs or less. And I mean, there's some Mariners 14-1 when leading after 6 innings. So shout out to their bullpen as well. Senor Smoke on the back end. Again, a couple of our old nicknames.
I know you're going to go really into it later, but George Kirby, what he's doing, like walk to strikeout ratio is insane.
He's coming at you. It's awesome. It's like but
just like for his career also, like on his page right now, like what are we doing?
Yeah, it's like a rare breed. Like as much as I compliment a guy like Snell, because I'm like, well, end of the day, a walk is like a single, and if you don't give up the big hit, whatever. George Kirby, like that's old school. Like that's pitchers used to hate walking guys, and not only is George Kirby in that ilk, but he's good enough to do it in 12 strikeouts.
I think Phil Hughes set the record in 2014 walk to strikeout ratio. I don't know if that's been bested yet. Kirby's on his way.
Phil Hughes. How about that?
11 .63 strikeout to walk ratio, led the league. Don't believe I believe that record would have been topped if it was all time at the time. 7th in Cy Young that year. Gross.
Yeah, he got paid after that year.
Yeah. First year after Yankees.
Trev, I'm going to hodgepodge you a little to end it, which I think you don't like, but it's the best way to get through this. Some good teams in these three that we're not necessarily deep diving on. Dodgers kind of handle their business in Toronto. We get some Ohtani boos, which I know I'm not the most popular guy in Toronto for being a Yankee fan, but that's kind of tough. Like, Ohtani didn't do anything there.
No, they're just having fun, dude.
I know. It's not sports.
It's not even like what's the word I'm looking for? Malicious. I feel like it's not. It's just having fun.
It's kind of the beauty of sports. I'm with you.
Took a flight to Toronto.
Dodgers win a series. The Herjavec took that flight. The Blue Jays end a 5-game losing streak. So it's good to get that final win. And then I mentioned, I love my Reds and Rangers. Rangers take 2 out of 3 at home. And then maybe if there was one I wanted to talk about a little more, Boston Red Sox kind of back at it. Houck with another big start. Tyler O'Neill with the bloop off.
The bloop off, yeah.
Bloop off.
Yeah, I mean, I actually really enjoyed this series because I was watching Shota Imanaga pitch on Friday. A nice play on a bunt by Duran as well, along with the good start. I mean, this guy has been incredible to start his career, man. 6 1/3, 1 earned on Friday. Going up against a guy that has started the year really strong, Cutter Crawford. Second game was just a blowout, big time, obviously. And then the third game, like you mentioned, Tanner Houck he's filthy, dude. Like, his stuff is on the video game level right now. And then, Tyler O'Neill, a little bloop walk-off. You love it.
Sox, kid. I don't... again, early stuff, but the juice they're playing with compared to the Rays.
We talk about a lot of other teams and the injuries. And, oh, man, we make up excuses for them and say, hey, they'll be all right. Things are going to get better when they get their players back. I mean, the Red Sox have dealt with more injuries than anybody in the sport.
Yeah.
And here they are doing their thing. Connor Wong turning into an absolute juggernaut.
They win the trade?
No.
Oh.
But good for Connor Wong.
Good for CW.
Yeah.
And I don't know if people call him that, but I like it.
Okay.
Yeah, my own final parting notes. I mentioned the Wyatt Langford, his first home run, top prospect. Wyatt Langford, this kid can't miss. Look at these forehams. First home run inside the park. That's funny. His first hit was an infield single. First player to have those two fun facts in 30 years. And then a little bit, I'm going to mark this as Rangers bullshit. Davis Wenzel comes in for Simeon, and he hits a homer, his first career homer.
Of course.
Why not?
Why are you saying Texas Rangers bullshit? What does that even mean?
I don't know, man. I mean, everyone's hitting. Where'd Jonah Heim even come from? We just ignore it.
That's true.
Oh, here's a 6'5" switch-hitting monster.
That's true.
Days, I think it was the Andrews trade.
For Elvis Andrews?
I believe so.
Dane Dunning.
Oh, boy.
10 strikeouts with which hand? Trev,
Evan Carter's got it going, too, now.
There's still a
Didn't
problem.
he start off the season 0 for 28 or something like that?
Know why Texas is really good, Trev? Because they just bat. They just bat, and just bats is where you need to go to get your sticks. Trev, what's your brand of bat? Oh, he just ran away. Okay, that's brutal. He
showing the pants.
I gotta get my charger.
Showed off his green pants. What? Okay. Well, the point I was gonna make is if there's a brand of bat you like, Just Bats has it. The largest online bat store from DeMarini, Easton, Louisville Slugger, Mizuno, you name it, they got it. Baseball and softball bats. Over 1,000 models of bats at this store. Wood bats, youth bats, you name it, they got it. And also, it's all about personalization these days. You got to be show. And your next bat, it could have the the lizard skin pre-applied, custom knobs, laser engraving. Yeah, Trev, everyone's trying to be show, bro. Just Bats. They also have their assurance program. Never second guess your next bat purchase. Try any bat for 30 days. If you're not satisfied, send it back. Boom.
I use Max Bats. That's what I use. Minnesota company.
Minnesota, huh?
Shout them out.
Just Bats is the place to buy your baseballs and softball bats. There isn't a better online shopping experience than this one, and you'll receive with them. So head over to justbats.com. Find your next gamer or some new lumber. We got a link in the description. Go check it out. Lowest prices and save up to 80% off. Free shipping and free returns. Go check them out. You okay over there?
My computer is running out of juice, and now I'm trying to look what Evan Carter's hitting in his last 7 games.
Okay. And?
Getting it up right now.
Analytics.
Well, he's just one dotting it. 280, a batting average, 308 on base, but the slug is there. 3 homers in his last 7 for the 1.028.
Sheesh. The slug is there. Half game back from the Mariners. Third place, Oakland A's. But it's NL time, man.
Yeah.
Man, know who's not excited for the NL recap? The Miami Marlins, who dropped to the worst record in baseball. White Sox be damned. Rocks be damned. It's the Fish, because they lose all 3 games to the National. They're playing a wraparound series, so they're going to tee one up again today. Your guy Joey Meneses with 2 ribeyes in that first game. Man, our guy Jesse Winker, Trev.
Been going off.
Might be some trade deadline talk, the way he is playing and the way he pimped his grand slam. Jazz Chisholm ordered one of his own on that final game, but the boys bopped in Washington. Senzel 2-homer day. Trey Lipscomb is back with 3 hits. Nats have just a little bit of juice. Miami has the opposite of it. It's getting ugly in South Beach. Phillies, they sweep the Padres in San Diego. Oh, no. I asked our resident Padre fan, Ryan Cohen, hey, what happened? He said we got out hit and out pitched. Bad formula. Just a bad formula. But that's what Aaron Nola can do. That's what Ranger Suarez can do. And that final game was a bloodbath. Everyone was hitting. Not as much as Bryson Stott's 2 homers. Alec Boehm just won't stop. 2 3-hit days. Phillies are rolling. This is kind of my ass from the beginning of the season. Padres, not so good. Cardinals, they get a series win. I was asking for that from them. They almost get the series sweep after Michaelis has a nice start. Sonny Gray with a good start. And the Mets fought to the very end on that one. They had to fight to the very end the next day, and it was enough. Mark Vientos with the walk-off homer, 2 strikes. Liberator gets liberated. Frankie Lindor tied it up. Quintana with the big boy start. But the Cards, they need a winning series, and the Mets, I think they walk away okay with the salvage final one. Is there something happening in Flushings? I don't know. I watched a little bit of Giants-Pirates this weekend, if I'm being honest. It was because of sports bets, and I guess this is my job. But how about Patrick Bailey with the walk-off 3-run homer as Kyle Harrison? He juggled a little bit. He pitches like a lefty. 6 innings shutout. Martin Perez comes back the next day, goes toe-for-toe with Jordan Hicks, who sets a career high in strikeouts. But the Rats get it done in extra innings. And then the Giants, they win the series on the final day. Giants took a 3-0 lead in that one. Tyro's there. Keaton Wynn has won his last 3 starts. How do you like that? Trev, the 2 best teams in baseball? Braves, Guardians. They teed it up for 3. And it comes down to the final extra innings. And there is young, thick Austin Riley. Talk about stars, man. Chris Sale, Charlie Morton, Josh Naylor. I think he joins the list. Ozzie Albies on that last day. Stephen Kwan had a leadoff homer in the middle game as the Guard Dogs go on to win that one. in 11 innings. Some of the teams playing some of the best baseball in the sport. And the Braves end up walking away with 2 out of 3. Speaking of some of the best teams, Trev, Yanks Brew Crew. And boy, thank God we didn't record Talkin' Yanks on Friday night because they sent in your boy Big Michael Tonkin in to die. And he did in extras. Brutal ask off the plane, go save the game. Brewers did not allow that. Joey Ortiz with the walk-off and his first career homer. But you know what the Yankees did to quelch their bullpen questions? They put up 2 15 burgers, Trev.
Yeah.
Rizzo, Judge, Verdugo, Stanton, Volpe, pumping into my veins. The Yankees, they turned on that offensive switch. They are cruising. And hey, Mexico series, Astros get 2. The ball's flying. Yordan 2 homers. DraftKings didn't even offer odds on him homering the next game. And ironically, he didn't. But Altuve, Pena, and Tucker did. Astros handled their business. Can it be the start? Some bonding in Mexico. That's what can do it for the boys sometimes, Trev. And that's what happened in the National League. Do you have standings?
That's how Matthew Stafford got to the Rams. A little bonding in Mexico. Sean McVay. It happens, people.
Cole Tucker's
I do have the
wedding.
standings, Jake, and
Okay.
thank you for letting me go. I made a little espresso back there because I'm tired.
Wow.
I've been working, Pop. In the NL East, this is crazy. As good as the Phillies have played, and they've played great, great baseball as of late, the Braves just don't lose games. They're 19-7 atop the NL East. Philly behind them at 19-10. Those New York Metropolitans, I love the City Connects for them. I'm curious to get your take on them. They're 14-13. Those Nats, I believe in the Nats, 13-14, just one game below 500. And then Miami at 6-23. It is. Things are bad down there. Miami, fun place to go. Not a good baseball team. In the Central, Milwaukee, 17-10. The Cubs, 17-11. The Reds, 15-13. The Pittsburgh Pirates, 14-15. St. Louis Cardinals, 13-15. That's going to be a mess of a division. That's awesome. And in the West, Dodgers, 18-12. The only team over 500, as the Giants are right behind them at 14-15. The Padres, after getting swept, 14-17. Your Snakes, or Dalton's Snakes, I'll call them, 13-16. And Kelsey Wingert's Rocks at 7-21. No longer the worst record in baseball.
After losing 2 games. they're 2 games from the last time we spoke. Trevor, how about fuck the Central. Hey, what's the better division, the AL Central or the NL Central?
I think the NL Central is.
Okay.
I do. Overall, I would give that to them.
I respect that from you.
I mean, the AL Central teams kind of keep winning. I keep waiting for them to stall out a little bit. And I believe I will be right. I believe by the end of the season, I will be right. And I think the NL Central will probably have a better winning percentage with the way the Sox are performing.
Man, I also just realized, because with the Yankees win yesterday, 19 wins, tied for the most wins in baseball. That was kind of the Yankee fun fact going around. It's not the best record because the Atlanta Braves only have 7 losses. Jesus. Looks like they're back, huh? God.
They're back?
They've never left. I guess Braves fans were kind of mad at us. I saw a couple tweets because they were like, our Braves are so good again, we're not going to get talked about until September. And it's like, I'm sorry, Atlanta. I guess, hey, we might be talking about you more coming up because they're facing Seattle and the Dodgers. How's your road trip? That's a fun one.
Well, this was a great series.
Yeah.
I believe at the time it was the 2 teams with the 2 best records in baseball. And you get these performances. That's what I think when I think about the Braves. You might have 1 or 2 people struggling at a time, but it's never like all of them. Like it never lines up poorly for them where they're not hitting and they're not pitching. Like somebody is picking them up, whether it's one pitcher or it's 3 dudes in the lineup that's 9 deep with potential stars. Like somebody's always picking up the slack. in the first game, Sale, I'll just go 7 innings pitch, 1 earned run. Like you're gonna have somebody drive in the runs or come up with a big at bat. Like they just have too many guys that are good at baseball to struggle for a long time. Like it's like the levee's going to break at some point. Every single Braves game that I watch, that's what it feels like. It's imminent, if you will. And that's kind of what it felt like this series. Although, I mean, the 2 extra inning games, like could have went either way for the Guardians. They got a couple guys that, have continued to pop for them. But this was a really good series. And a Braves team, again, we talk about teams that are struggling with injuries. I mean, the Braves have struggled with injuries all season long, but it doesn't matter for them.
Can I tell you something even crazier? The WAR leaders on the Braves, WAR isn't everything, but currently Reynaldo Lopez, who we thought signed as a reliever, and they're like, no, we're going to make him a great starting pitcher. Marcell Ozuna, who, we're 26 games in for the Braves. He has 31 RBI.
Yep.
So that's WAR from DH, which that's really tough to accrue. And then it's Travis d'Arnaud, their backup catcher. If you had to point out 3 people who are struggling, quote unquote, in the Braves lineup, it would be Olsen, Riley, and Acuna.
Yep, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like even when you have a couple guys struggling in the lineup, there's other guys there to pick them up. And then guess what's going to happen when Acuna and Olsen and Riley start going? Like, what if d'Arnaud cools down a little bit or Ozuna cools down a little bit? There, these guys are to pick up the slack. They're finding pitching. Like what are you going to do against these Braves? Like they're one of the teams that saw a reliever and said, we'll make you a starter, and they're reaping the benefits of that. They shouldn't be one of those teams that does that. Like that's
right.
It's almost unfair.
I had a good Jakey Stoner thought on the couch this weekend. And, thinking about pitching, because I'm as I need to for baseball, I'm constantly thinking of how to solve the problem of pitchers. I think the recipe, if you're a relief pitcher and you're doing well, I think we're going to try more relievers starting and see how that works. If you're a starter who's struggling, I know they get kicked to the bullpen, but currently Luke Weaver is on the Yankees. And if the Yankees need 3 innings, that's how they can reset their bullpen. I think we're going to see that path open up both ways a little more. I mean, between the Seth Lugos and Michael Kings and Lopez, why not?
Jordan Hicks, that's what I'm saying. It's like for the Braves to find one of those guys and do it seems unfair, but that's, they are a well-run organization. They understand value and where to find it. Even we have injury to Spencer Strider. Bryce Elder comes up. He's had 2 starts, 12 innings pitched, 2 earned run. This is a guy that struggled mightily in the second half last year, but it doesn't matter. Like they're just, it is kind of hard to sit and talk about them because you just end up, I don't know, for lack of a better term, kind of stroking them. There's a better term. I should have came up.
No, I think that was
just let
good.
it rip off.
Kids would say glazing.
I think that was good.
There you go.
Isn't less graphic.
It kind of is.
Braves are 9-4 when the opponent scores first. I don't know, man. They're a comedy star. I'm actually Braves fans. Hey, you just got a lot of love. At Seattle, at the Dodgers. I'm in on that.
I mean,
let's light up the lamp.
I'm looking at the stat sheet right now. Ozzie Albies comes back, has a nice little performance. He's got an OPS in the 9s. Travis d'Arnaud's almost 1 dotting it. Marcell Ozuna is 1 dotting it. And you're right, man. Austin Riley, Matt Olson, and Acuna are the guys that are quote unquote struggling. Low 7.
Yeah,
they're not playing bad. But they're not playing to their level.
Yeah.
And once that happens, what's gonna go on, man? They're already winning games. It's not like they need to win any more baseball games than they already are.
Trev, there's something. I feel like baseball used to have this, and it doesn't as much anymore. In the NBA, and it's NBA playoff time, there's just a tradition of whatever team next has to get punched in the face for 2 years, and then it clicks. They The Nuggets, they lost a couple years, and then it all came together. Golden State was kind of that way. Like, people think the Timberwolves might be that, or Celtics, whoever's next. The Braves have a recipe here for, like, they've had these beautiful seasons that have come up short the past couple years that, man, they look hell-bent. There's a lot of new faces that are involved in the mix. That I don't know, when we just went through all of that, you wonder if they could put up like a special regular season because they have the talent to do that.
Yeah, they do.
Sorry, guard dogs. Wash that. Put it in your rear view. Go keep winning a million games.
Avoided the sweep. Congrats.
Yes. J-Ram, slide. A lot of weird base running, Trev.
Yeah,
you need to coach the people up.
They ran themselves out of that game. It was Quan first at third base, and then it was a no-slide Ramirez. What's Stephen Vogt doing out there in Cleveland? Get him out of there.
Yeah.
Just
Another
kidding, Steve,
day.
you're the best.
Where's Tito? Hey, as much as goddamn Central love that you've been given this episode, my Philadelphia Phillies are 19-10.
What are you talking about?
They just swept San Diego. My ask this season was keep up with the Braves, so that's where I actually had a moment of like, oh shit, the Braves. Braves have 7 losses. They just swept the Fathers, and man, some of the guys, I guess, as we're tasting glazing Atlanta.
That does sound graphic now that I'm thinking about it.
Know who's one of the best players in all of baseball this year has been Alec Bohm.
Yes.
Who I'm not saying was a question mark coming into the season, but between him and what they're getting from their rotation, that I think has an argument to be said is the best in baseball currently, I hope the Phillies give the Braves a run this regular season.
I mean, they are, Jake. They're not too far behind them. Alec Bohm, as you mentioned, season statistics, 365 for a 441, 615, 1.056 OPS, 4 homers, 26 runs driven in already. And if this guy at 27 years old, some would say that's a prime age to, be a baseball player. If he breaks out in this fashion, that could be the thing that puts the Phillies over the top. Because you mentioned the pitching staff and what they've been able to do. I think we're talking about them a little later, but they have an argument. I mean, I think that's one talking point with the Phillies right now. What are they going to do with their rotation? But it's all good stuff. They kind of have 6 capable starters, but you're talking about Nola, Wheeler, and Suarez just being absolutely lights out. Turnbull's been a great find for them. I think he might stay in the rotation, and maybe Walker goes back to the bullpen. Not sure how they're going to handle that. And Sanchez has shown flashes of, definitely a very well capable back-end starter. If you get the offense to continue going and you add a guy like Alec Bohm to, up his tier status, if you will, that's what something the young kids say. Why is S tier the best? Doesn't matter.
Want to open
if
this up.
Bohm takes that next step, that could be the Phillies' way to take the next step, which would be to win the World Series.
Well, that's everything I just said about the Braves and getting their lumps in storylines. The Phillies have been doing the same thing. Right? It's dumb. It's April 29th. Give me a Braves-Phillies series. I mean, that's as intense baseball as you're going to get in 2024.
Yes.
God.
And you're talking about, Bohm he's been like a mid-7s OPS guy. And again, like you just take that leap, the on-base percentage takes a step up. That's really what you usually see first. Like, how's the plate discipline? Now he's matching it with the slug too. It's been very impressive.
All JM preview for Wednesday's ep.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how much conversation third base in the NL is going to be.
That's kind of crazy.
Like that.
Usually that's one of our biggest discussions.
Like that for Bomer.
There's guys hitting.
Trev, in 1 minute, do you want to hype the Nats or bury the fish?
Ooh, let's hype the Nats a little bit.
Done. Jesse
We've talked
Winker,
Jesse
851
Winker hot.
OPS. CJ Abrams, 979 OPS. Let's go.
In that first game, Meneses had that the RBI single, and I believe it was Lipscomb comes in, and then right behind him, just like a bat out of hell. That's a saying, right?
Mm.
CJ Abrams sliding in, great slide. They play fun baseball. They play fun baseball in Washington, and I said that to people. I said, "You got to watch this team. They got some exciting guys." I mean, CJ Abrams has been incredible. He has taken the next step. I know it's against the Marlins, but give him credit.
Sneaky talking baseball legend. Whoa. Sneaky talking baseball legend. Trevor Williams twirling the pill for the Nats. And as you know, Trev, I'm an anti-velo guy now. Fastball sitting 89. We're mixing it up. And some of the advanced stats like what he's doing out there.
I love that. Pitchers can do that nowadays, man. You can make these adjustments. I'm going to be talking about a guy later on that made some adjustments, and you can change your whole career. I love this for the Nationals. Feel bad for the Marlins. Salvaging the last game of the series. It's a Sunday. Hey, let's just, ride off into the sunset. You're up 7-0 after 2, and then you lose the game. That's got to be the most dreary clubhouse in the history of clubhouses after that game.
It's either that or blindly hype.
How was it hype? You can't be hyped. You just got swept by the freaking Nats. And you're up 7-0 after 2, and you lose 12-9. That hurts.
Worried about the clubhouse. Get Luis Ariz to Toronto ASAP.
Go Joey Meneses, go.
God, fish.
Go Cardinals, go. Go Cardinals, go.
Yeah, you got anything about that? I'm half okay.
What do you mean? I mean, it was a good series. Cardinals took the first 2 games. They've been seeing some of the guys that need to go a little bit. Where are my notes on that? I'm looking right at him. I can't see him. I told you I am freaking
Yeah, you're
exhausted.
fighting from behind. Their bullpen has been pitching really well lately. Again, the offensive numbers are a little scary, but
one thing I want to mention wasn't even about the Cardinals.
Okay.
JD Martinez makes his debut in this series, and in the offseason, he didn't want to go to San Francisco. And he said, I want to go to the Mets because that ballpark plays to my swing. First hit, double off the wall in right field. Almost went out. But it's like, oh, yeah, you're right. You understand your swing, and you were absolutely right. Even though they lost that game, good to see him get it going. And then, for the Mets to salvage that last one, Mark Vientos, I believe, got called up the day before.
Sometime this weekend.
I think I called, or he played in the game before, 2 for 2 with the walk-off 2-run homer, and he was hyped to do that, which he should be. That's really cool, man. You get called up and you're able to, salvage a victory and stave off a sweep for your team. That's a good feeling.
I mean, I believe he had like an awesome spring too. Thought he was going to make the team. Then they do the JD move, which for the Mets is a no-brainer. But he got just short end of the stick, and he and JD joined the big squad at the same time.
Love that.
Mets Cubs is going to be a fun one this week, and St. Louis, Detroit, and then the White Sox. So, right now they're 2 games below 500. St. Louis, keep up. The Pirates are floundering a little bit. I think they've lost 10 of their last 13, including 2 in the Bay this weekend. Like I said, I watched a lot of that game. The wind was blowing like crazy. Jung-Hoo Lee tracking down balls, his hair and hat just flying in the wind. Grandson of wind. He was living up to it.
Okay.
Yeah, and Kyle Harrison, I said he pitched like a lefty, and the analysis on that, he was getting in jams all night. I bet on San Francisco. It was late night, and I lost a couple bets, so I was like, Giants, never a doubt. And Harrison was just wiggling out of trouble all night. So good for him. Jordan Hicks looks gross again in the game they actually end up losing. Pirates skidding a little bit.
This was like a fun matchup for me because you have Patrick Bailey, he hits the walk-off homer, which is awesome. But the guy like he kind of supplanted, Joey Bart, who's having a great run with the Pirates, has a chance in that final game against Duvall. Maybe it's magic. Maybe he shoves it back in San Francisco. No, he does not. He ends up getting out. But I was rooting for Joey in that at bat.
Rooting for you, Joey. And we're rooting for some standout performances.
You take this one first, Pop.
I'll go first. Didn't talk a lot about my New York Yankees, who, again, they went into Milwaukee. Probably could have got a sweep if they handled the bullpen a little differently. But we're over it in Yankee land because the boys put up 15 a pop in the final 2 games. And the guy I wanted to highlight was Anthony Rizzo. He throws a 4 for 4 out there on Sunday. Was a little concerned. Again, it was a weird end to the season for him. He played 2 months with concussion syndrome and was awful because he was basically concussed trying to play baseball. He comes back this year. Got off to a slow start. Couple weird moments. He was playing bad defense, which was like, whoa, what is this?
I think Riz.
He's turned it around. And Trev, it was a reminder to Yankee fans how good this guy really is. Hits his 300th home run, the 161st player to ever do that of all the people that have played this sport. He looked pretty hyped to get it. The dugout looked pretty hyped for him to get that. And, again, being just full East Coast, I want to shout out Rafaela from the Sox. We mentioned that 17-run game. So both of these guys played in games where a lot of runs got put on the board. A 7 RBI day for the kid, who's now playing shortstop for them, and he's having a slow start. You have a day like that, if you start getting worried about year numbers, that can kind of change how you're feeling a little bit. So a little Yank Sox.
I like that. I like that you mentioned Rafael there. It's not easy to, go from the outfield to the infield the way he's done it, playing great defense in the outfield. Hey, go play shortstop for us. Maybe it's a little spark for his offense. I love that. And then Rizzo, you know what sparked his offense?
What's that?
A little 420 action. Since April 20th. 13 for 34. That's a 382 average, 417, 794 for the 1.2er. Since he was blazing all those joints on 420. I'm not sure he did that. That's just me speculating, people.
Yeah,
I haven't added the Brewers series homers to the mix, but I know the ones he hit against the A's were like his 2 furthest hit balls since pre-concussion. So Seems like something might have clicked in the last.
Seems like something might have clicked
days.
on 420.
He really, he wasn't putting charges into balls, and he has been recently, and that's baseball. But sometimes you wonder between
the defense, and there were like 2 balls that it looked like he felt like he got all of, and they didn't get out, and he looked scared.
Yeah.
Now he's good, and that was talking Yanks.
Where are you going, T-Pain?
I'm going with the pitcher. And you mentioned it was one of my friends, former teammate of mine. We talk about this guy quite often. We must be the biggest Cole Irvin pod on the planet. Yeah. He saved the Orioles the embarrassment of getting swept by the A's. Maybe that's a little strong worded there, because the A's have been playing a little bit better. But he did. 7 innings pitched on Saturday. No earnings, 4 hits, no walks, 5 Ks. His last 3 games have been really, really good. 18 in a 3rd innings pitch, only 2 earned runs, 2 walks and 11 Ks for the .98. And he's made some adjustments. When I think about Cole Irvin, when I play with him, it was the changeup, kind of like a Visa fastball with the changeup. He's basically scrapped the changeup this year, and he's throwing his curveball much more. Last year he threw his curveball 14% of the time. This year he's throwing it 26% of the time. It's been a big pitch for him. The changeup has gone down from 21% all the way down to 10%. So he's kind of done that, and that's helped him, get off to a really fast start. I mean, this is a guy that, with some injuries to the Orioles starting pitching staff, he's had to come up big, and he has. And a guy that you really isn't really a household name except if you listen to Talkin Baseball. So I want to shout him out. I like when pitchers make adjustments, change what they're throwing, and see the benefits of it. It's a game of adjustments, and Cole, as a guy that's has made them and has had a really nice start to the year. So I wanted to shout him out.
Can I say something about Cole Irvin?
Sure.
Passed the eye test. Watching him pitch, he
just his pitching.
Yes.
Okay.
He is a grizzled man these days. I don't know. I mean, it's a good look for him.
Sneaky athlete. He doesn't look like it, but he's a sneaky athlete.
Dude, he was his stuff was gross. I was watching along because that you picture Swerve and Irvin. I guess I am an anti-velo guy now. So, but yeah, he was paying. He looked good. The stuff had some good movement on it.
He can command, multiple pitches for strikes, and if he's doing that the way he can, it's a very difficult at bat.
Trevor, there was a lot of guys, a lot of good pitching performances. A couple Red Sox, couple Twins, always your Don Mexico City series, bro. But there's really one place you want to be on this show.
Dirt nasties on Fuego. That means I'm on fire, baby. Like Waco.
It was me and Anthony Rizzo in the back of a car, windows up, pop boxing on 420.
That's not reported.
Allegedly,
not reported.
That did not happen, people. I'll say that for a fact. I don't think Anthony Rizzo knows who I am. You know who I know? Benny Biceps for the series. Andrew Benintendi, 6 for 13, 2 homers, 8 runs driven in, recorded his first career walk-off homer. His 6th career multi-homer game, his first since September of 2021. And his 6 RBIs on Saturday tied his career high. How about my guy, Carlos Santana? Getting it going. He'd been struggling. He went 5 for 13, a double, 2 homers in this series, had 3 games in a row with homers, 7 runs driven in for the 1.3 OPS. Washington third baseman Nick Senzel, 3 for 11. You're like, okay, Trev, how are you in Fuego? You're going 3 for 11. Huh? Well, all the hits were homers, 7 runs driven in. They have another game against the Marlins today. So they haven't exactly swept the Marlins just yet because they have one more game today. Okay. Got that one wrong earlier in the show. Way to go, Trev. Get up on it. Good job, Nick Senzel. How about for the week? Eddie Julien, my French man. You know he didn't even speak English when he went to Auburn? Him or his parents didn't know a lick of English. And I said, Eddie, how'd you learn English? And how fast did it come? He said, 2 months I learned English. This guy's incredible.
They pretty much don't speak English at Auburn.
Yeah.
So what the hell does Eddie Julien
How'd you learn
speak?
English in the South, bro? Anyways, this guy's an absolute stud. It was only a matter of time before he went off. 9 for 22 in the week, 3 doubles, 3 homers, 7 RBI. He just goes oppo. He's got a great freaking swing. Anthony Rizzo, my guy. Do I have to even talk about him again? I will. 11 for 27, 2 doubles, 4 homers, 7 RBI in the week. He went 4 for 4 on Sunday with that 300th homer. He's homered in 4 of the last 6 games. How about Scott Barlow?
Sure.
This guy, my brother coached in high school. That's a true story. Cleveland reliever, 4 games, 2-0, 2 holds, 3 2/3 innings pitched, 1 hit, no runs, 1 walk, 6 Ks. I liked the signing when he went over there. He's been doing it for the guard dogs. And this, my friends, is the list that you want to be on. Chicago White Sox starting pitcher Eric Fetty Wap Fetty, 3 games started, 20 innings pitched, only 13 hits and 3 earned runs, 25 Ks in those 20 innings pitched. That's a 1.35 ERA. He threw a career high 8 1/3 innings on Sunday. He'd never thrown farther than 7 innings pitched in his career before that start. He's like changed his repertoire up. He's throwing a splitter now. It's nasty. Went to KBO, did all those things. Good for him. Good signing by Chris Getz. Attaboy. Logan Gilbert, I think we're going to talk about him later. Should I just not even say him?
Can.
Okay. 3 games started, 19 2/3 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, 21 Ks in those 19 2/3 innings pitched for a 1.37. And then Washington reliever Kyle Finnegan. 6 games in the 2 weeks. He has 4 saves in those 6 games, 6 innings pitched, no hits, 1 walk, 5 Ks. So he's allowed 1 base runner in those 6 innings pitched in those 4 saves. That's how you get on in Fuego, Kyle. Congratulations. And that's it.
Some important updates I would like to share. Trev, I was looking to see if Anthony Rizzo and you might have talked on a baseball field. You hosted the Cubs June 19th, 2015. That's the first game of a 3-game set. The back 2 games, you didn't get any hits, so you wouldn't have met him in those 2 games. In game 1, I noticed that you and Rizzo both had 2 hits. He hit 2 homers. You hit 2 doubles. You wouldn't have stopped at first base. So you did not talk to him that day, I don't think. Then I went back to 2012. Rizzo wasn't with the big league club. Don't know if he was on the IL or in a AAA stint or something, but you didn't face him in 2012 when you faced the Cubs. But 2017, July 4th, you were a Tampa Bay Ray. You beat the Chicago Cubs 6-5. You were playing first base that day. So when Rizzo had a hit and 2 walks, you probably exchanged some words, and you also had a single that day, so you might have exchanged words again. So July 4th, 2017 is the day.
That is some investigative journalism. I was kind of being facetious and joking about Anthony Rizzo not knowing who I was, but now
I just need to find the on-field interactions.
You've put it into my mind. There's a possibility he doesn't know who I am. For real.
No,
Post-World
Trev.
Series year.
He's a big scouting report guy.
Where's he got to stand?
He's definitely seen my name on a piece of paper before.
Yes.
So I
pretty
got
nice.
that going for me.
Pretty nice.
He
He
likes
came to
you.
the office. He's a Plouffe guy. Who
Yeah.
isn't? You know? Your
A lot of people, Jake. A
your-
lot of people don't respect me.
Your fingerprints are all over this league. Trev, that was a fantastic in Fuego.
No, thank you, Poppy.
We now go to the worst segment of the show, the IL report, as I call it. Luckily, there's not a lot of names, which that's good news. Although I didn't need more bad news for my fish, but Jesus Luzardo on the IL. They've got a whole rotation on the IL. Couple relievers: Drew Smith, Cisnero for the Angels, Jordan Wicks. I don't know. I'm digging deep. Joey Gallo. So I don't know. Not a big injury weekend. Knock on wood. We like that. And then returning from the IL, Ozzy Albies, who's just, when he's been playing, been going nuts. Framber Valdez.
Came back. Look good.
Tough ask for a pitcher to come back in that in the Mexico series, but good on Framber for it. And Taijuan Walker comes back, which he got knocked around a little bit. But like you said, Philly with some interesting decisions to make. Rob Thompson says they're not going 6-man, which you would think would be, you'd think they do Walker, but I don't know how you handle that. Like he got a free agent contract, but
He is making a lot of money, but Turnbull's look so good. I wonder if they just kind of keep Turnbull in like a swing, like keep him built up multi-innings, and then kind of let Walker have a little bit of a leash and then make a decision. I don't know.
not sure. Unsure. I am sure about one thing. There's a good way to start the week, and we have that here at this show.
Awards!
Trev, and awards are brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook. Baseball
Yes.
season is heating up. I told you guys, I spiced up my Friday a little bit by getting in the game with a little San Francisco Pittsburgh treat for myself. And right now they're giving new customers a swing at turning $5 into $200 instantly in bonus bets with any baseball bet. And DraftKings has you covered with everything. If you're into parlays, live betting, odds boost, there's so many different ways to get involved with it. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code TALKIN. New customers bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's code TALKIN only on the DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Trev.
Am I up?
If you got it, I can take it.
Take it real quick.
Okay.
I got to get my pages
You
correct.
get locked in. I'm giving out the 2 or less award. 2. That's not a lot. That's not a lot. That's whatever you're talking about. 2, usually not a lot. The Seattle Mariners starting pitching, which before the season when we talked starting pitching staffs, you couldn't talk best staffs in the league without talking about Seattle. Philly got a lot of love. A couple other the good baseball teams around the league. But Seattle, this is what the team is built on. And we've, especially myself with my analytics binder, I've been tough on teams where the offense doesn't do it for me. And right now, Seattle's offense, they're arguably bottom 5. I mean, 26th in batting average, 26th in OBP, 25th in OPS. That's not good. That's not a good recipe. The Seattle Mariners are leading the AL West right now. 40% chance to win the division is what Fangraphs has them at, by the way. And it is because their starting pitching is rolling. Talked about Logan Gilbert on in Fuego and what he's been doing. George Kirby, we all started drooling over him. And I believe it's at 16 games now that their starting pitchers have given up 2 runs or less. That's nuts, man. It's historic. And Logan Gilbert, 40 innings at 2.03 ERA. Luis Castillo sitting at a 4.15, but he's trending upwards. George Kirby trending upwards with a 4.18. Again, these aren't even bad ERAs. A 4 ERA, you're looking at, 6 innings, 3 earned runs, but they ain't giving up 3. Bryce Miller, 2.22 ERA. Emerson Hancock bringing up the rear right now, so I'm not gonna take my guy down. But what they are doing as a pitching staff, because I mentioned that bullpen at the end, Spire, Thornton here's a who, Andres Munoz, Stanek, Saucedo. The Mariners can pitch. Like, we've kind of known that. I've been a little skeptical, and I still will say I'm going to need to see more from the hitting, but I know there's more hitting coming. It will happen. I believe in Jorge Polanco. Let's get J.P. Crawford back. Julio heats up as the year gets rolling. Mitch Garver will be doing better than what he's doing. Mariners, I was kind of tough on them as well a week ago because I was like, I'm not sure where this is heading. If they pitch like this, you almost have to be successful. And it's not fluky. Like, these dudes are dudes. So I'm drinking from the Mariners Kool-Aid a little bit.
This is kind of what we expected out of the Mariners. Maybe not to this extent. How could you expect a run like this from really anybody? But if I was to pick a staff, it would probably be the Mariners. There's all those statistics about, scoring 4 runs, scoring first. Like, if the offense plays its part just a little bit. I talked about this, I believe it was on Friday with Stephen Brault. We talked about the Mariners and what they've been doing. If the offense is just an average offense in baseball, like, this is a playoff team. Like, for sure they'll be in the playoffs if they can just have an average offense. If they can tick above that, whether that is Julio getting it going and, getting some of these guys they brought in. They bring Haniger in and Garver. Like, getting those guys going would be a welcome sight as well. But also, like, this team is still set up. They could make a massive move offensively, and I think they're going to need to do that. You can't miss a window like this, a pitching window like this. Like, you have to go out. If you could just look at your team and say, hey, man, we like our bullpen. We love our starting pitching. They're able to, get bullpen arms almost at will. That's what they've been able to do. Go out and get a bat. Go out and get better offensively because they just need a little support. You don't even need to be a mashing offensive team to be able to win in the regular season and in the playoffs. This rotation, when you pare it down and kind of think what you can do in the playoffs with it is a scary thing. So I love what they're doing. I hope this pressures their front office into going and making a move during the middle of the season.
They host Atlanta for 3, and then they're doing a little Houston, Minnesota roadie. So we'll find out a little more about these Mariners in the next week and a half, and I'm excited to. Where are you going with your award, Trev?
My award is called the I Got It award.
Okay.
You ever sit down, and I'm like a puzzle guy. I like to do all sorts of puzzles. I do all the New York Times ones, whether that's, connections or strands or Wordle or the crossword. I do them all. I don't like Sudoku. It's the one thing I'm not into.
Okay.
I don't like numbers that
I've been
much.
playing chess again lately. I'm back in the chess
Okay.
game. Downloaded the app. I'm about it.
Okay, so that's a good metaphor for this as well. Like there are times where you see a move on the board and you're like, okay, I got it, right?
Yes.
That happens a lot to be like with a crossword puzzle. Like you're kind of stuck on a quadrant of the crossword, and you're looking at all the clues. You're like, okay, what can I do? What can I do? And you think you have a few answers, but you don't want to write them in because you're like, okay, I'm not actually sure. It could be a couple different things. And then all of a sudden, you get that one word or you get that one letter, and it just opens the floodgates, and there you go. It's one of the better feelings that I get.
Mm.
Doing these puzzles is okay, I got it. And then you just crush it the rest of the way through. That happens in baseball too. There are guys that grow up that, continue to work, get better, find things they need to work on, and all of a sudden it's, I got it. And the floodgates open.
Mm.
That's happening with our guy Josh Naylor up in Cleveland. He has increased all of the things that you want to increase. He's decreased all the things that you want to decrease, and he's reaping the benefits of it. And so are the Cleveland Guardians. He's off to a great start. They're off to, an unbelievable start as a team. Maybe the most surprising team in baseball this year so far, I think, the way their offense has gone. And they have a bunch of guys that are going through it. I think there's 9 guys with an OPS plus of 100 or more with 50 plate appearances or more on that team. So it's not just one guy in particular. Like Naylor's not the only guy going there. Like Stephen Kwan's had a good start to the year, but Naylor, there's a great article on MLB.com, and it's written by, I'm gonna get the guy's name right now because I'm using it for this award. Cole Jacobson. What's up, Cole? You kind of look like a good-looking guy.
Okay.
All right. Naylor's just increasing all the things that you want to increase in. He's decreasing all things you want to decrease in, like I said. He is chasing less this year. So he's not swinging at bad pitches, getting the pitches in the zone. He's also swinging at more pitches when they are in the zone. That's a career high for him. I think he's second in the big leagues at swinging at pitches in the zone. Now, that sounds like stupid and like, oh, obviously you want to swing at pitches in the zone. It's not that easy. Pitchers present pitches to you that look like they're going to be strikes, and then they're not strikes. And you chase, and that's just part of being a hitter. If you can get them in the strike zone and swinging at pitches in the strike zone more often, you're going to be a better hitter. It seems simple, but it's not that simple to do. And when he's swinging at pitches in the zone, he's making a harder contact than ever. His average exit velocity is like 90.7. It's never been in the 90s before, so he's hitting the ball hard, and he's just carrying this offense, man. And I think, for a team like the Guardians, you have to have some surprise performances. Like they don't go out and get guys that are absolute sure things offensively. Like they believed in their roster, and hey, we got to go do it ourselves. And because of Josh Naylor, I mean, they're 19-9, a plus 46 run differential. And those are both second in baseball behind Atlanta, because who the hell is going to ever keep up with Atlanta? But for a team like the Guardians to be able to do it, they have to get performances like this out of Josh Naylor. Overall on the season, let me get it up right now. 6 homers on the year. He's driven in 21, 360 on base percentage. He's had a 327 in his career. 535 slugging percentage this year. He's had a 445 in his career. 895 OPS in this season. He's had a 772 in his career. 158 OPS plus. He's had a 114 in his career. So advanced statistics, conventional statistics, all trending upwards for Josh, just because he's getting the ball in the zone a little bit more. And that's just something you learn from, now having 1,500 plate appearances under his belt. So he's hitting his stride exactly when the Guardians need him to. So I wanted to shout him out. He's been doing it all year long. Not only is he an on-the-field leader for that team, he's kind of like the emotional leader as well. Like he's the show pony. He's going to be the one on the top step leading the charge with the vibes. Letting Jose Ramirez do his thing on the side. Letting all these other guys perform. Let me be the guy that everyone gets mad at or looks at. It's an important role to have on a team, and if you can do it while performing like he has, you deserve an award on Talking Baseball.
Snaps, Trev. I The only thing I'll add to that, both teams that just got mentioned. I'd love if both of them got one more twig. I mean, the Guardians are begging for another right-handed bat. That's going to be available at the deadline, and everyone knows my qualms with that front office at this point. It's both these teams are going to put themselves in great position that, man, sometimes I wonder if it's dumb, but it also feels like those one or two moves that you can feel like, how aggressive was Texas last year trading? And I don't know. I know both of these teams lean on their farm system, and it's part of what's gotten them to this point. But also, if you get a chance to cash in a couple chips this deadline, who knows what the West is going to look like? Who knows what the Central is going to look like the rest of the year? But, God, both of these teams, I feel like with one bat, you just look at them totally differently. Like, totally
I don't
different.
think it's going to happen for Cleveland. I don't think that's what they do. You know that.
God damn it, Chris Rose. God damn it, Chris Rose. Trev, fantastic stuff out of you. Enjoy that White Sox Twin series that everyone's talking about. We are back Wednesday with the big one. It's all JM, people.
Red Sox.
Kind of match a little bit today, me and you.
A little bit.
This is a spruce top you're rocking. What is that, like a sea foam? Same.
Sea foam. Not a lot of snakes this up. Come on, snakes.
I'm on 3 hours of sleep right now, people. This is what I do. I'm going to go talk to Chris Rose right now.
Right now.
Yeah, like literally right now.